Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing some brief thoughts on episode 9 of the anime series, Dansai Bunri no Crime Edge, or the Severing Crime Edge. And I have to say, this was a really interesting episode because we had a lot more compounded revelations going on with the history of gossip and this whole war between the Hair Queen and the Queens and the witches and all this stuff going back hundreds of years, what set this whole game afoot for all these characters. And it was really intriguing stuff. Now, of course, we're largely picking up right where we left off, this sort of life and death battle between Kiri and Rulebook, and I have to say, it just goes to show you what, clever editing and a cliffhanger, how it can be misleading and stuff like that, because there was a point in the last episode where you have Kiri kicking off the little cage that EY is captured in on the stage, and he's slicing at Rulebook, and there's a point where, Kiri's basically getting knocked out, and there's what I thought to be a delayed reaction of blood just splurting out of the abdomen of Rulebook. And, I thought this was the actions of Kiri that had done this, but in fact, we find out in this episode, he was shot at by someone in the crowd. And this person in the crowd, as I suspected in the last episode, we had everything stop, all the action stopped in the last episode to reveal this blonde girl with crimson eyes. And I really did, it struck me she was going to have some kind of payoff, be some big doings in this. And it turns out, wow, talk about big doings, she is the Lord of Gossip, their leader, the Violet Witch. And it was her, one of her minions, who, per her order, decided to stop Rulebook because this isn't what she intended at all. She just wanted to show off Kiri and the Hair Queen, EY, to the crowd of gossip. And of course, Rulebook was in there trying to make a show of it and all this stuff, and really going above and beyond what he should have been doing. So he got a lot of negative press, if you will, to the tune basically of like 15,000 knives in his chest. And so he's off. He's effectively gone. Kiri, of course, is alive, as I assumed he would be, and you have this touching, pseudo-touching sort of little scene between him and Rulebook, where Rulebook is dying, and they both understand themselves to be very similar in what they carried out to do. And of course, there's more of this revealed after we have the police officer Kazakura come in, and Kiri's asking her, "Aren't you sad that he's gone? Didn't you have a sort of similar relationship as I do with EY, this author instead relationship?" And at first, she's very aloof and she's denying it, but we all know that's not true. I mean, there seems to be a kinship and I don't know, a very sort of pushing of the boundaries in the relationships between authors and insteads. They get very interpersonal. And so, of course, she does break down and she admits that she's going to miss it. She misses what they were able to do for each other in a sense. And, this then expounds to the point where you see Kiri and EY making similar vows. They share a confession between each other, and they almost get intimate right then and there, sort of running on the lust and the fuel of this whole situation, how precious life is, seeing someone die before you. But we see how much of a hero Kiri is, because first, as much as, a bastard it seems like, that Rulebook was trying to kill him, he still offers to help him. He still wants to save his life. He can't, of course, with 50,000 knives in the guy's chest, but then he holds back. He doesn't, act on his lust when it comes to Kiri. He actually really genuinely loves her, and it's not just about lust for him. So his parting words as we end this episode is that he finally understands, with these revelations of the Violet Witch and all this stuff, he understands what it means to have to protect her. And of course, we see the professor seeing the Violet Witch leaving the group and everything like that, the little club wherever this party was held. So it begs the question, are they going to go in an all-out war between them, And then it also begs the question, are there other witches? Because usually when you hear a color connotation like that, black witches, white witches, there are usually others, involved. And maybe that's a series or season 2, thing to come. I don't know. But I really am dying to see where it goes next. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of this episode if you've seen it. The Biel and Zaka sisters were still pretty much in the background. They didn't really get involved, and oh well, whatever. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you, and otherwise, I'll catch you later. Peace.